Hello, I'm Toycat, and for 2026, I want to add one major addition to my Let's Play world for every single month of the year, and that's what I'm going to be doing today, the very first of these. But first, I think it's important to say that this is the Update Adventures, and so obviously, the thing that will shift more than anything else this year is Minecraft drops, and I think that this is a make or break year for the entire system, and I want to talk about how, for anyone else out there that is affected by updates or plays a lot of their world around them, how exactly you should plan your year as well. And so let's get into it today, starting with the first thing I want to say, because one of my big, kind of starting projects that's been in the background for a while has been this Metro map that currently looks absolutely horrific. You can see where I've gone for the E, but it hasn't quite worked. You can see that I've got a cactus up there that looks more like a house. I've got lots of things I still need to do to make this map perfect, but one of the things that I think is weirdly, bugging me is the fact that I've got all my major rails in my Xbox 360 size world actually mapped out on here, but it just feels a bit empty. Even now I've added that proposed dashed line on the left there, and I realized while I was thinking about this, I was just kind of going for a walk across my world, when I realized I had this giant railway, which to be fair, I never take. It's kind of like a freight railway. I use it to get guardians around the world, or specifically Elder Guardians, but still I have this giant railway specifically for Elder Guardians, and it does go above the ground for a lot of its way, but it also goes below the ground right here, or at least below the mountain, and so why don't I make this part of a metro line? Great question, and in fact, great answer is let's do that right now. Here's some cornflowers, let's make some blue dye, let's make some blue wool, and now let's go ahead and place it in the corner here so we can add an extra map to this. But obviously, that's not my big project for 2026, but it does give me a convenient opportunity to talk about how updates are going to change, because obviously, there's the way we do that when we're trying to get the clicks, trying to explain exactly what is going to change this year. 2026 will change everything, but if you want my real thoughts on this, I do think that we are in the most transformational year in Minecraft history, because last year was all about establishing the drops, unlike the year before, where the first drop kind of, let's be honest, was a flop, and the drop before that wasn't even actually a drop, they just retroactively named it. We actually got our first year with 4 big sets of Minecraft content. We had the Spring to Life drop, then we had Vibrant Visuals and the Summer drop, we had the Copper drop, and then we had the Winter one, but despite the fact that I had to just say 3 of their names as their seasons, rather than actually saying the Copper Age, or rather than actually saying the full names of them, I think it's interesting that, ultimately, most of the drops that came out last year were cool, but felt like they were a little bit rushed. It felt like meeting a deadline was really important, and that is good. A lot of people, say ooh, stuff that's rushed is bad, but it's actually, at a certain point of delaying things for the sake of perfection, you do need to just tell yourself, let's get it out there, and, let's get it out there good, and then make it great later. But that's the challenge. Will Mojang actually... Why do I have this weird little empty area here? That is the challenge that Mojang kind of has on their plate right now. Can they actually come out here and make some of these drops, fill out the content that it's missing? Or is it going to be that every drop from now on is going to be a really short burst of content that then is entirely unrelated to every other short burst of content? That's what we're going to be finding out. And so I think the big change that you need to keep in mind for your world, if you also care about updates like I do, the big change to really take from that is the fact that, it used to be that for, a few months of the year, it didn't really matter what the next update was going to be. We didn't even know what Mojang were planning, and then the snapshot phase began and the vibe of the update became clear, and you could kind of, work in your world around what was going to happen eventually. But now we have this weird cycle where, even though there's 4 times as many drops in a year, actually, because of the time spent in certification, or the time spent, in the kind of bug fixing phases of a drop like we're in right now, actually, it means that for most of the time, you don't really have to know or care what the next update is. And so for a Let's Play that is named after updates, like this one is, do you think we should actually just, replace the ground next to it with blue wool? Or maybe we should replace the track itself with blue wool? Do you think this would look good, for example, if we do something like that? It's a good idea, right? But what I'll do for now, just to make this nicely fit, is I'll break it all the way down here, and then we'll call that something. And if that something is good, let me know. I'm definitely going to get some more blue wool to make it more clear at various points that this is the blue line, so I can add it to my metro map which again, got lots of lots of ways that clearly needs to improve, that I'll be doing so via one of my other New Year's plans. But yeah, it's 2026. The way updates work now is going to be different. For most of the drop cycle, you don't really need to care for your Let's Play World. But I think that there is going to be this critical, like, 1/4 of the time where it is important. If Minecraft, I think now that we have drops, it's far more likely we get, say, new biomes or content that's worth exploring. So my exploration plan will have to be different. I'm going to try even a little bit harder than previously to only explore chunks that I've already explored outside of updates. That's my big plan. And I'm also going to try to, again, more than previously. This is a weird direction here, by the way. I'm like, did you know the Nether is that way? As if I didn't literally just tunnel through it over here. Which raises the question, should I have tunneled through the Nether? Or should we take it round the Nether? It's a good question. I don't have a good answer, though. But yeah, with that said, my first big... I think that how updates affect your world is going to change. And perhaps the biggest way is going to be, the fact that we are seeing drops that are very different in content from each other and are much more experimental and kind, I don't want to use the word unfinished because I think that's rude, but and not a perfect explanation of what is actually happening. But I do want to use the word varied, and so as a result, your plans need to be varied. But that also means that I think this year more than any other, again, unless we are wrong and there's a crazy end update, but even an end update would prove my point right here that until the end update is there, what can you really do besides not explore your end? Anyway, I think that as a result of that, it's still going to be important before a drop comes out. I'm still going to be following them because I love following Minecraft updates. But this year, I'm going to be trying to do a little bit better, more than any other year, working on something that I think is important. Kind of, by the way, my first drop of the year, something I think is important, is I want to make one major addition to my Let's Play world. And a lot of people would take that to mean like, oh, so Toycat, I see what you're doing here. You're going to be making... like one big update a year. This is going to be some grand plan. But actually, I'm kind of taking it to be the exact opposite. And I know that sounds weird and counterintuitive, like, no, Toycat, you've committed to some major plan. That is your way of saying that you are doing a major plan. But actually, no, I think that having one major addition every, or, let's call it like one new part of the inner-ish Let's Play world, doing one of these every single month is a good way to remind myself I am doing something, even if it's been 3 weeks since my last major project finished, that like, oh yeah, I can come up with my idea for the next one, but I'll have more time to actually do that. That sounds like a weird thing to say, but I think one of the things that has been really transformational in 2025 has been the fact that a lot of the things that have worked best for me have kind of come from my dead time of just playing around in the Let's Play world. A lot of my favorite ideas to work on just come from that dead time. And so even though my first build of 2026 to really embody that spirit was just going to be a giant stone pyramid, I've got so much stone, literally too much stone, so I'm going to make a giant monument that's going to be visible from my sky rail, but otherwise it's just going to be here. But then literally while I'm working on it, maybe you saw this during Q&A Saturday, but I was just like, actually, let's set up some auto smelters so we can get some funky stone, the smooth stone that is to say, and then let's go for like a stone pyramid that's not just all one tone, but is actually, like you can see here, 2 tones. So we could then have like stone every other layer, smooth stuff, and I think just this single change is going to make it like a lot prettier looking. Maybe you agree, maybe you don't, but look at this. I think this looks so much better than before, and so the plan is to make a giant pyramid like this because I think it will be a nice, fun, chill project to start off the year and allow me to live one of my very silly dreams of building a silly-sized pyramid in a Minecraft world. But again, even after I was like, okay, but it's just smooth stone and regular stone, that doesn't take too much effort besides setting up the furnaces and stuff. But then I was like, wait a minute, I was gonna just build my pyramid starting with the corner here. You can see I even placed some blocks going that way, but then I realized, wait, there's an ocean monument there. If you haven't seen it, here is my ocean monument with attached creeper, apparently. I figure, this ocean monument's a really weird one because I looted it Wait, why was that creeper basically dead? Anyway, I looted this ocean monument way back in the day. Like, I can't express to you enough that how long ago it was. So it's kind of a dead ocean monument. And that means that rather than keeping it here and making the world a bit more confusing, why don't we center our pyramid around this? Why don't we make roughly here, obviously you can't perfectly center a pyramid like this, but why don't we make roughly here the center of the pyramid. And then that way, when you go inside of the monument, there'd actually be, or inside of the giant pyramid, which is just meant to be a monument, if you will, there'll be a monument inside of the monument. And so, again, I think this is what I'm talking about when I say, if you start with a really grand idea, you'll have really great ideas while working on that idea, but you'll have used up all the energy on the initial grand one. I think sometimes start with something simple, and then see where the terrain or the place you place it in your world or whatever else, see where the idea actually physically takes you. And I think that is something that I really want to take some lessons from. So we're going to have this go slightly on land for the pyramid to be this big and start here. But I think it's worth doing. So by the way, we start at -20, and that will take us over to these coordinates, which is roughly, what is this, 120? Yeah, 120, let's call that. And so if this is 1366, that means we're going to have to go all the way out to 1266, which is going to be the edge of our pyramid. And so we're going to be using not just ocean, which was my original plan, but a little bit of the main land here. But that's totally planned. That's totally fine. So there's going to be, just over here at 1266, a little bit of stone coming out there. And I think that that is a really great idea. That is, again, going to require me to destroy a little bit of land here. But I think it's going to make for a really extra interesting pyramid, because it's slowly going to... you're going to still see the remnants of what I leave behind here. Speaking of remnants being left behind, I think it's important we go to sleep. I also think it's important we we drill through the terrain here to make this actually work. But let's go to sleep and let's talk about the fact that, yeah, this year's plan is to do something major in this world every month, but to kind of be what I might describe as less reactive and more active. I think that one of the things that has always been true for my channel, given we focus on news because I like updates so much, one of the things that we've always done on this channel is to build... to kind of react to the news as it's happening, and I actually still really like that. I tried a few years ago when I was traveling so much, I was like, you know, let's take the focus away from snapshots and betas and stuff like, you know, like let's take the focus away from super new stuff. But honestly, it was where my passion lied, and that again, it's weird to see, but sometimes like quitting something makes you realize just how much you really care about it. That's fun by itself, but it's also fun to see. So we're going to be going out to 1466 this way, by the way, and taking up a little bit of the land here, but that's totally fine. So one of the fun things about that I think is worth mentioning is that, like, I really, really enjoy the new stuff, but it does require being very reactive. Weirdly, even my most successful second channel videos, I try not to reference it too much, but... Oh! Ah, sad. Well, if you have a copy of the Toy Cats Let's Play World, here's a fun thing you can do that I can no longer do myself because I've just ruined it. Anyway, one of the... We could put all the sand back up there on string if we wanted to. Anyway, the fun thing about being reactive is, like, you know, like, it feels very, like, cool being there, fresh in the moment or whatever. But also, I think that so many of my better ideas and better plans have actually come from being, you know, like, proactive. Have come from not the world knocking on my door and begging me to do something, but instead me coming up with the idea myself. I you know, doing Minecraft seeds, but every single country that is my viewers is what we did. I loved that as a concept, and I thought no one's actually going to care about this, but the fact that a bunch of people did, I've seen it in all sorts of posts from people who don't even watch the channel, I think that's awesome, and I think that's an example of, like, yeah, that is something... The world was never asking for me to do that. Literally nobody ever was saying, Toy Cat, you need to record this Seed Sunday. But yet, way more people enjoyed it than a video people did ask me to do. I think a classic example of that is the worst ideas of the year. It's, which I will still do in some form because I still like to listen to what people have to say. But I think it's really important to also take into account the fact that some ideas are so great that you don't need to wait for someone to ask them. I think a lot of life is spent, like, assuming that, yeah, if something's really important, someone will ask for me to get it done. But so much of the world is like, no one is going to ask. You have to sort that out yourself, which is a challenge, don't get me wrong, but in my opinion, it can be a fun challenge. So here's what the pyramid's going to look like. We're going to be using something like 800 of each of these blocks per layer. It'll slowly shrink up as we go. So it should mean that every single layer of this, just for stone, we'll use up half a shulker box. I've got, like, about a dozen shulker boxes. Wow, actually, I've just realized how underprepared we are. But I think it'll be cool even in its, like, earliest forms. And it'll be especially satisfying as we get closer to the conclusion. So it'll be a nice little thing to build you know, maybe for background gameplay here or there. A nice little thing to build while coming up with those ideas that I really, really enjoy coming up with. Speaking of enjoying coming up with things, let's now, I've got all of these, as you can see, I've got all of these delightful furnaces, but yeah, at the same time, they're not running with any stone, or they're running out at least. So let's top those up. As I also top up my broader thoughts here, I have really enjoyed 2020, 5, if I'm being honest. I think there's been a lot of fun things. But again, I think that 2020, oh, that was wild. I think 2026 is partly a year where I'm going to be doing a lot of, like, the opposite of what people expect again. Again, there's something that is, oh, I've got a lot of stuff going into that hopper. Something that I think is really weird is the fact that in 2025, we started this Let's Play solely because I was just done with how overproduced certain Minecraft videos were becoming. I wanted stuff to be like the old style again, and I've had a great time doing it. To be totally honest with you, I think bringing back old style YouTube videos has been one of my joys, and the fact that not only has it been successful as the Let's Play, but it's encouraged a lot of people to become channel members, making that, a crucial part of the channel's success work too. I love that. I think that's great. I think that's genuinely something I am, like, very, very proud of, and I love it, and I really am appreciative to everyone who has joined the channel membership club. And so it's one of the important things that I think we want to do this year is I want to make more of those, but also for people who are like, but I want more Toy Cat Let's Play, but I'm not necessarily in a position where I want to, maybe where you can even, I'm not in a position where I can, drop a little extra money here or there because, situations be how situations be. I understand. Well, I figure then in that case, the best, middle ground should be, I want to stream the Let's Play more. My big plan for 2026 is I want to be in this world more, and because I really enjoy making, doing challenge runs and stuff like that, but I kind of got in my head at one point saying, if I'm not doing challenge runs, I'm basically burning subscribers, and, there is a little bit of truth of that, but I think it's important to work out a consistent Let's Play format for the streams, and so I'm going to be trying something silly, which is, titling my streams like Minecraft Updates 2026.1 or something like that. But I want to actually make the live streams of the Let's Plays a bit more into something that you can expect and you know what you're watching when you do that. And so that should be a lot of fun. At least I hope so. So yeah, that is the little update from this one. My first big build of 2026 is going to be a giant pyramid. I'm sure I'll encounter some difficulty while building it. I'm sure there'll be some fun challenge, but this is my first goal. And then in February, I also have a big plan, but I won't share it yet. I look forward to doing it then. I think that drops are going to be... by the way, look, I've got plenty of stone still, in case you're curious. I think that drops are going to be a truly transformative experience in 2026, but I do worry that that could be for the worse. So I am still going to be covering them, and I'm still going to be honestly excited for them. I know some people are like, oh, Toy Cat, you can only be excited if they fix Bedrock. But it's like, no, actually, subtitles are an example of fixing Bedrock, and they get me single-handedly excited for our first update, coming out presumably somewhere in the end of this month or the start of next one. But they have me very excited for our first drop of January already, and then there's going to be just even more after that. What is not to love? The answer is there is nothing not to love. There is plenty to love and plenty to not love. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did that double negative perfectly. So yeah, now we're going to have the pyramid go all the way that way, all the way that way. It's going to be a very, very, very intense square, but it should make something that is incredible to look at, even if only from a distance. And that's part of the fun, isn't it? To make something that is grandiose and ridiculous. And ultimately, I think that Minecraft worlds need builds with a lot of importance and significance, but also at the same time, I think it's important after making so many of those to just do something big and grand and to use up all the stone that I've ended up with and that I know I'm going to end up with more of as I work on these very same metro lines. With that said, I think that is my update to end 2025 with, as you're watching this, it's the 5th of January, 2025, 6, and I am very much used to the dates. I'm excited for it. I hope that you're excited for it and that you enjoy my little update, because if you do, you might want to check out my members only Let's Play coming out later this week. Otherwise though, thank you for everyone who has been subscribed for all this time. Honestly, it's weird to say, but I've been getting a lot of comments recently being like, wow, I remember this guy. Didn't he used to make Minecraft videos? And it's funny because it's like a reminder that so many people over the years, you know, just through natural attrition, stop playing Minecraft, or maybe just stop being interested in watching videos about it. Maybe you're watching videos about wiper fluid instead or whatever. And so as a result, it's like, yeah, in that case, you know, over the years through attrition, you lose so many subscribers. But the fact that we still have enough to keep the channel going is something I am insanely grateful for. And so thank you to anyone who has consumed any piece of Toycat media in 2025, and I hope that you'll consume more in 2026. Thank you. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next one, because I would make 500 Let's Plays, and I'm currently in the process of making 500 more. Yeah, a good example, actually, of, like, a project that I really, no one was asking me to make was the silly song thing. But every time I make one, people are like, yeah, this is awesome. No one wants to see it, and yet everyone wants to see it. And so clearly, the response is going to be, we're going to have to drop an album. And so look forward to that this year, I guess. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye!